Start the recording here. 1-1. With really bad breakers, our first round opponent 0-2 dropped, so that kind of kills our breakers. If we are going to top 8, we have to win it out up against Condescend. Oh, I forgot the camera. I'm already recording. Thank you. Always forget to move it back after marbles. Also, I actually need to move chat up. Oh, I have it locked. Never mind. We'll deal with that later. This hand is actually good. This is probably one of the better hands we've seen today. It's good sign. Good sign. Yeah, I do appreciate it. Opponent mulls to 5. Extra good sign. Doyle, we're not on marbles anymore. I appreciate the enthusiasm, though. Wonder if Condescend's double queuing. He's kind of had a lot of time here. Turn 1 Tron lands. Alright, it's the mirror. Oh yeah, we're gonna go turn 1 Astro. There's a chance I hold up turn 2 counterspell. It really depends on what he's doing over here. But I probably just want to find my own stuff, so I'll end up going turn 2 Prophetic Prism, turn 3 either have one of these. Or turn 3 Trinket Mage, turn 4 Tron. That's pretty good too. I'm kind of down. Which means, with the way this is going to play out, I'll probably hold up Counterspell on 2. Opponent on a low mulligan. He's on the play, so he might have a turn 3 Drifter evoke. And being able to counter that, and we'll just snowball really quickly. Impulse, sure. There's a chance he does nothing with the mana, but it's too snowbally to pass up on. Because we don't really need the Prism for a while. We're going to be tapping out for the next few turns. Oh, what we do is turn 3 Trinket Mage, turn 4 Map, Crack It, Tower, go, End Step Alchemy. But this turn is pretty free to hold up a counterspell for. Or a Dispel. I'll probably Dispel. Well, we're going to counterspell even if it's an instant. Because turn 4, we're going to be holding up Tower and a Prism. And that'll let me Dispel. But with our opponent on a low mulligan, I'm a little bit more inclined to hold up Counter Magic. And keep them on the weaker stuff. I'll counter most spells here, because our opponent's on a low mulligan. Matchup is really snowbally, so you just want to give yourself the highest chance of snowballing your opponent. And this is going to be the best way to do it, is to prevent him from really getting his feet off the ground in the early turns. When your opponent mulligan's low, your counterspells get a lot better. Because turn 3 Evoke Drifter is really the best way to fix a bad hand on a mull to 5. Most of my mulls to 5 end up being good after turn 3 Evoke Mull Drifter. If you can't get that off, then it's really rough. See? So instead of having 5 in hand here, he's going to have 3. So we get him good. No, I think opponent's just double queuing or something. He's been slow the entire match. Which for a Tron mirror can be bad, but for the most part, Tron mirrors are pretty quick these days. That's fine. Don't really matter. Doesn't really matter now. There's more about cards in hand for our opponent at this point with 3 there than it is Tron. Sure, I'll take Triple Drifter. Why not? We're going to play Alchemy this turn, though. Or have a Dispel if he goes for, like, Impulse or something. Should be able to win this game without too many issues now. Kind of just want to Tron land off this. That's probably our best find. Oh, cool. So, we don't really know which Tron build our opponent is on. I think we're going to board very, very safely. So how I've been really liking boarding versus them is just +3 Pyro, +2 Dispel. I can cut 1 more. I still don't know what that 1 is most efficient for. I've been leaning towards Impulse, but I could also see it be like the Nova Horror. But I think we're going to go with -1 Impulse. I know I have the excludes here, but I think I only bring it in against Stonehorn Tron. Once I'm absolutely sure he's on that. As of right now, I just kind of like the 6 counter magic spells. Don't want to overboard on them. Also, if we see our opponent bring in Hydroblast, what we're going to be really cute. This is why I only have 3 Pyroblasts. You don't want to see that. Well, that's good. That's a really good hand. Oh my goodness. This is kind of a nutty draw. Turn 3 Divination off the Flicker with Tron. That's hot. Yeah, this is game 2. Already. Our opponent's going to have turn 3 Drifter. This is how you play Magic. Both opponents have it. Oh. Our opponent, he's a filthy casual over here, not having turn 3 Tron. Psh. Everyone knows Tron players always have turn 3 Tron. He's giving us a bad name. As I say after not having Tron the entire last match. Oh. We have 2 Prisms. I'm not really going to respect the, give me a second, Prohibit or Counterspell on my Prism here. He has it. It's fine because we have backup. That's what good Tron players do. They always have it. What we could have done is we could have gone like Island Prism if we really needed it to resolve, but we didn't really need it to resolve, so we're just going to do that. Astro's fine. Next turn, we're probably going to play Drifter. We're not going to evoke it because I want to hold up Dispel for a Pyroblast. I want to make sure it hits the table. Because this one I do really want to resolve. So there's one thing we've learned today is that opponents always have it. If he has a double counter or triple counterspell draw, that's pretty brutal for us, but it's very unlikely. But we all know odds don't apply to our opponents. It's pretty rough. He has it. So now we're in basically top deck mode. We got fairly unlucky there that our opponent had triple counterspell. Probably going to end up cantripping this Ghostly Flicker because we don't have a whole lot of time before our opponent gets ahead. Especially if he's just... What's he playing here? Another Evoke Drifter? Sure. We're drawing fairly live though. That is not live. We need something. Fantastic magic here. Our opponent has triple counterspell. We have triple island. Not even close to who's better. Obviously us. Opponent's probably winning this game. Tron matchup's just like a giant die roll sometimes. If one opponent has an okay draw, like it doesn't even matter if it's a great draw or a bad draw. Like opponent had triple counterspell but was missing Tron. So most Tron hands are going to be able to beat this, right? All it takes is single teaching, single alchemy, or a single push through spell. But we flooded out instead. So what's going to happen is our opponent's mediocre hand turns out to be insane because your opponent is doing nothing now. Right, I wanted to move up chat because it's kind of clipping into that. There we go. That's a bit better. It's been like that for a while and I just now noticed. That should be better. It shouldn't be clipping into the priority bar there anymore. But positions like this, because they can happen fairly often. This is why you don't like bring in like 20 counter spells like our opponent has here. There's a chance his hand is just mono counter spells, and if I draw teachings, I'm gonna win this game. But it really depends on what's left over in his hand. They're really bad draws. You only want enough to push through your stuff. Sometimes your opponents are unlucky and never see the flashback spell, and you get to steal the game. But hoping for that is just overboarding, if you ask me. Our opponent has Quad Prism, so that's cool. Doesn't have Tron though. Oh boy. Pyro is a draw that does something, I guess. Like I said, exactly my point. It's a pretty bad draw here. What we really want to find is Mystical Teachings. That's going to be our best draw. Impulses help find it and stuff. So we're got a decent amount of draws here. Any land is obviously bad. Mort Meyer's probably not that great, as it takes a lot of time off. Like, we'll probably still play it, but we'd rather not. You want to snowball a bit more than that, because that just signals, like, we're telling our opponent we only have Mill Drifter next turn. If you have a counter spell, you basically double time walk us almost. It really destroys us if we do that. I'd much rather draw into a flashback spell. Prisms are, of course, good. They're always going to be good. They enable my next flicker a little bit more. So we know our opponent doesn't really have Mole Drifters or anything. Otherwise, he probably would have slammed it last turn. If you cast an Impulse, I think we Pyro it. Like, we're both top decking here. We both run a lot of lands. We both have a lot of dead draws. I think my opponent's hand is about as bad as my hand. Or it's on a bunch of counters, which is fine too. Second Mole Drifter. Have the Pyro for it. That's pretty huge. Well, don't really have much of a choice. Force him to have the second Pyroblast here. Of course he has it. Why not? Gonna hold on to this island. De Nova Hort is a card we both run, probably. Opponent has Tron. Only 2 in hand. Let's see how good his top decks are. Mnemonic Wall. That's pretty awesome. Grabs Impulse as he should. I agree. Our opponent has, well, top deck's a little bit better than us. Mainly in the fact that he found Wall first. And 2 Ephemerate. Alright, we lose this game of Magic. Our opponent, you're better than us. That's the mirror. It's kind of really not fun anymore. I used to really enjoy it because there's a lot of play to it, but now it's just kind of who is luckier, which is really not fun at all. On the play, I almost want Impulse for game 3 here. He kept in Prohibit and Counterspell, which I still think is wrong. I think it's overboarding. But having seen that, I think I don't want De Novo Horror anymore. I want Impulse more. Because when you board into 8+ counters, like 6 is already a lot, right? When you board into that many counter spells, all it takes is one Mystical Teachings, and you just lose that game of Magic if you're staring at 3 counter spells. Because your opponent gets so much value on you. I don't really think it's that good anymore. I think it's really only good against Hellsouth's particular build, which is why we have the excludes. Because this deck only has one flashback spell. And that's really easy to beat with a bunch of counters. So we've had 2 non-games so far. Maybe game 3 there'll actually be some real interaction. Probably not. But maybe. Maybe we'll actually, draw the spells we want to see too. Teachings is the actual best card in this matchup. This is all you want to see. If you find Teachings, you can find everything else through any amount of counter magic. Hey, you joined me with that. I got round 1 burn, which we managed to beat. And then round 2 red deck wins. And then round 3 is a Tron mirror. Game 1 was a non-game for me. Game 2 was a non-game for my opponent. He got there. And I didn't. I had a decent draw, but then he just had 4 counter spells. And I never saw Teachings or Alchemy. So it worked out for him. No, this matchup is all about snowballing. You really want that early game land. Like we've already trimmed down to 22, which is fairly greedy. But you really, really need to snowball in this matchup. On the play, we have a Prism. 2 Tron lands. You keep this. Are you on the same build as last week, or did you change it up? We're never going to find the hooded land. That's what's going to happen. It's fairly likely, though. Like, even if it's a expedition map on turn 2, I'm okay with that. I've added the second flicker and changed up the sideboard a lot. I got 2 5-0s with this list already. So I know it's good, even if I do end up 1-2 dropping here. I'd like to confirm it with the challenge, but having 2 5-0s and 4 leagues of Magic is pretty strong. I've liked the changes a lot. The second flicker's been good, as well as the extra dispels. You know, I almost wish I made my opponent play it out last game. I probably should have. Well, it's too early in the challenge. Like, I really don't want to sit through that, to be completely honest right now. The 2 Dispel main, I could see 2 Dispel main. Sounds about right. I can see only Thunder as well. It really depends on what you expect to face. Like, I'm only on the one Thunder right now. Mortuary Mire is always a win con. Actually, on my latest 5-0, I played against 2 Boros Monarch lists. I decked them both with their own Monarch. One, I had the turn 4 De Novo Horror, which is really busted. Turn 4 De Novo Horror is really good. And I hit his bounce land, and he just had the Journey, so I ended up having to kill him with the Wall Lock and Mortuary Mire. And then the other one, both my Ephemerates, my second Flicker, and 2 out of the 3 walls, and De Novo Horror were in the bottom 15 cards of my deck. So by then, I just had to bounce all my opponent's lands and fog them every turn. Second Dispel's a mediocre draw. Really just want a third land here. Doesn't, as long as it's not the tap land, it's probably really insane. Doesn't matter what kind. But I don't think we're going to get there. We're not lucky enough for that. Impulse is also a great draw. Anything but passing the turn here. Fantastic Magic. Oh, that's cool. It's better than nothing. But turn 4 Expedition Map Go is pretty fucking bad. We're going to Dispel that. We have 2 Dispels. We just kind of have to use our cards as efficiently as we can now and hope we slow down our opponent. Because if he has Tower here, of course he does. We're going to lose. Oh yeah, you keep this every time. And if you get unlucky, you lose. It's just how it is. It's the Tron mirror in a nutshell. If you get unlucky, you lose. If you get lucky, you just win. We're going to get Tron here. I know we only have 1 Prism, but Tron is still the correct line, I think. Well, actually. Yeah, it's still the correct line. We're still likely to draw islands, especially off the alchemy and stuff. I think we still get Tron. Our opponent doesn't really have much value because we saw him, he had 6 mana. He Expedition mapped for an island. So he's probably starting to get a bunch of counter magic because he overboarded and he's unable to snowball me until he top decks well. Which here it is. There's the Drifter. We have to fight. Oh. That's actually really surprising. So I think if he had Pyro, he would have... He probably has Pyro. Yeah, that's probably what it is. I almost want to pass and just go for this Ghostly Flicker. Or not Ghostly Flicker, Forbidden Alchemy. I think he has Pyros. It's a bit more effective to go on his end step with this Forbidden Alchemy. Yeah, he has Pyros. Because he didn't fight over the Drifter, but he's still doing fine, so I'm assuming it's going to be Pyros. Now we slam Drifter and hope he doesn't have a second. If he does, it's fine. We still have stuff to fight, but if he doesn't, it's awesome. I'm going to hold up this spell and go for an end step Ephemerate. He overboarded on encounters. That's my read. And he's got flooded. Like, the second he went for that map for tower, it's pretty obvious he's flooded. Oh yeah, we're going to get him good with this Ephemerate line. Like, even if he has a Pyro on my Drifter, we have 2 Ephemerates and we have wall here. We actually are probably winning now because our opponent flooded. Which is honestly surprising. Our draw was really bad. We shouldn't be winning this game. I'm going to tap it like this. Alright, so grabbing Pyro. We have a second Ephemerate in hand. And I want to make sure I can counter his Drifter next turn. Discard map. I'm thinking Impulse. Yeah. Oh, crap. One more. Jeez. Okay, maybe Island. I'm still likely to draw more lands. Well, what happens is we countered his Zispo and we countered his Mull Drifter. And he was stuck with a Pyro in hand when we countered that Drifter. All right, we got there. Surprisingly. So we're still in the tournament. That's good.